Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I am Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriend, wives, and especially your boyfriends and your husbands. A very warm welcome to the DCU Daily, Tuesday's edition of the DCU Daily. You can follow me on X, Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X, and on TikTok, Mad Mickey's World, Snapchat, BMouth60. I don't have the time to explain to you every single reason why modern day English-speaking Western entertainment is on its knees. I've got scripts to write, I've got movie scripts to write, I've got rehearsals to do at my theatre with my Amateur Dramatic Society, and I've got a very exciting adult movie to shoot today, or keep on shooting. So I don't have the time to keep on explaining to you people why the industry is on its knees. But I do want to talk about one of the significant reasons why the industry is on its knees. It's the movie franchise, it's the TV franchise. And don't get it twisted. The franchises that we grew up with don't mean the same as the franchises they're making today. I'm going to count to 10 and give you 10 seconds to comment down below what the difference is between franchises today and the franchises from the 70s and 80s and even 90s, if you like. Now, go on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did you write down in the comments, right? Let's see if we're on the same page. The differences between the franchises back then and the franchises now, they focused per movie back then. They focused on making movies. Now, they just want to make another version of the same movie. They just want to put out the next sludge so you keep on watching. When I was growing up, they were making movies. Let's go back to the Star Wars trilogy. Star Wars 77, A New Hope, as some people don't like it being called, but I don't give a shit about modern day social media stan culture. Star Wars A New Hope was made with the focus of the movie at its heart. Same with Empire Strikes Back, same with Return of the Jedi, same with the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. Per movie. Now the first 3 movies, I really enjoy all 3. And even Superman 3 made 100 million. If you adjust that for inflation, that might even be the same amount of money as James Gunn's Superman made. And I would dare to say that Superman 3 didn't cost us near as much as Gunn's movie cost to make. The Indiana Jones first 3 movies, per movie. Focused per movie. It wasn't about formulating a franchise to make money, to suck people in. They believed if we make a good movie, and then we make a good sequel, and then we make a great trilogy, but we focus on each movie, they didn't think of it as franchises and streaming and spin-offs and all of that. And this is what's gone wrong. Every time you see they want to make a spin-off, it's meaningless. Because that, my friends, is what culture is today. Culture, film, TV, or let's call it what it is, streaming, even music, has no heart, has no soul, has no meaning. The people making this stuff are just going through the fucking motions. There lies the problem. That's why they're on their knees. And it's all Kevin Feige's fault. He started this, right? The MCU started this. Now, at first, they were focusing per movie with Iron Man, Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, Captain America the First Avenger. 4. Right, let's look at those films. Now, the plan was to have a connective universe, but they were focusing on the movies. I love Iron Man. I don't really like Iron Man 2, but at least they were still focusing on the movie. That movie went a bit too far with the connectivity, but a lot of people like it. But still their heart was in the right place. Creating a franchise, but focusing on that franchise per movie. And that's what those first 4 movies did. The first 4 movies, a lot of people don't like it. I love it. They focused on the movie, but they had a plan at the same time. But something changed in Feig's mind, and probably once Disney were involved as well. Once Avengers Ensemble was so successful, they decided, oh look, they like lots of characters being together. Let's forget on focusing the per movie thing. Let's just chuck the member berries, the cameos, the Easter eggs in there. And that's what happened. This is how they ruined it. Now, all of a sudden, for many, many years, the MCU was making money. That's the thing everyone loved to talk about online and go and watch. What went wrong was then everyone decided to make everything a franchise. Let's make superheroes, the DCEU, the Sony Spider-Verse universe that didn't have any Spider-Man in it, right? All of this. But it wasn't just superheroes and comic books they were adapting. They tried to do the monster universe over at Universal. I mean, I still can't stop laughing at that Mummy movie starring Tom Cruise, where he's basically doing stunts and it's just another Mission Impossible movie. The guy's just a fucking junkie. He's obsessed with jumping off fucking planes. It's fucking cringe by this point. But anyway, so they're all trying these franchises and all failing apart from the MCU. Did they realise that it wasn't working? Did they realise they were draining the confidence, the consumer confidence out of people? No! Did they listen? Now we'll just keep on going. What do they know? We're here, we're doing it. We know more than them. We're the experts. We make the movies. Surely we know more than them. You would have fucking thought, wouldn't you? And this, my friends, is what's gone wrong. The franchises that we grew up with had the movie in mind. It wasn't that they were trying to make a franchise, it just happened that they had something that worked and it was time for the next movie, but always focusing on that movie. The James Bond franchise and the Rocky franchise are a great example of this. We'll look at the 6 Rocky movies very shortly, but let's look at the James Bond franchise. Cubby Broccoli, Albert R. Broccoli, right, and Saltzman basically bought the books, turned them into movies, but didn't really reflect, let's say, faithfully on the source material. But that's what worked about it. I'm not really obsessed over canon. As long as the character kind of symbolises what he kind of is originally, and Bond does, to a point. Maybe he's slightly more sarcastic and stuff, but he's still James Bond. But those movies worked. Why did those movies work? Beautiful women, beautiful settings. You couldn't wait to find out who the next Bond was, the next gadgets were, you know, the new Bond girl, a term we're not supposed to say today. She's a girl, and she was Bond's girl, right? Sorry to tell you that, right? It's a great term. Fuck off if you don't like it. But, so those Bond movies, I mean, everyone complains these days about the lack of continuity in old Bond. But that's what didn't weigh them down. It wasn't about making a franchise. It wasn't about connectivity. It wasn't about uniting every single actor who had ever played Bond and having a team-up movie. They were just individual movies about a character, a super spy fighting espionage, and some crazy person who wanted to take over the world. But it worked. We went and it put butts in seats because they focused per movie. Now, interestingly, if you look at Rocky, it's kind of similar to The Godfather in a way. The 3 Godfather movies are trying to tell a story. And Rocky is trying to tell a story. That's what Stallone did. And Stallone did it successfully. I don't care if you don't like Rocky 5, right? I love that film, by the way. It was just actually a real boxing match after the street fight, away from being a fucking great movie. I wrote down what I would have done with that, by the way. But anyway, Rocky tells the story within a franchise of a character. Stallone wasn't looking to make a franchise and create spin-offs like they are today. He wasn't looking for content. He was looking to make a story. So in the first film, we see him find the girl of his dreams, Adrian. He's given this opportunity by this world champion because he can't find anyone to fight him. He thinks he's going to have an easy match against this guy from Philadelphia, this street kid. He goes the distance. And of course, Apollo is shocked and embarrassed and his ego gets dented. The tagline of the first Rocky is, his life was 1,000,000 to 1. In other words, this is a Cinderella story in Rocky 2. For his wife and his health, he stops fighting. But he doesn't have the education, he can barely read. He's doing ads, you can see him struggling, reading the boards, right? And the auto cues. Amazing. Rocky 3. Well, we find out that he was given a lot of easy fights by Mickey, and Mickey dies and he has to fight Mr. T. Brilliant. Rocky 4 when he fights Drago. Brilliant. Every film we learn something new about Rocky's mentality. Rocky isn't educated. He's an everyday working class lad who had nothing, then had everything, and then by the end of the 5th movie has nothing again, but he has his wife and child. And let me just take this moment to say, I'm so sorry to see what happened to Sly's son, Sage Stallone, because actually Sage delivered a great performance in Rocky 5. But anyway, yeah, Hollywood will kill you, it's such a shame. But then we got probably the best movie in the fucking franchise, Rocky 6. Did Sly come back and say, let's do the Rocky cinematic universe, let's have streaming shows and franchises? No. He wanted to make a final chapter because he wasn't happy with Rocky 5. I am. I think there's a lot of good in Rocky 5, by the way. But he wasn't, most of the fans weren't. So he came back and did Rocky Balboa. Rocky Balboa, every time I fucking see it, has me in floods, in fucking tears. Like Rocky 4, he makes the controversial decision to kill off a major character. And the major characters in Rocky were played by fantastic actors. This is, I don't know how Stallone was able to bring those actors to the plate. I mean, Burt Young, who played Paulie, one of the great actors, one of the great character actors. Talia Shire, the same thing. Burgess Meredith, who of course played the Penguin, and many other characters. But Rocky Balboa is a great movie. Critics loved it, it made money, it was a great bookend. Unfortunately, they did come back with the Creed movies, so we saw Rocky for another 2 movies, which was great. Always great to see Stallone in character as Rocky. Then he fell out with WB, and now he's not involved with that anymore. But those movies are quite still successful. But even the Apollo Creed movies, focus per movie. They are trying to tell a defined story. That's why people love them. It's not about, that's the point of old entertainment versus new entertainment. These days, they're making content. This is why they fail. They're trying to make bags of money on recognizable IPs. But they forget the number one rule. No matter how recognizable you are, when you're dealing with a sophisticated audience, and people laugh at me when I say that, but we are dealing with a sophisticated audience who are on social media every day, who have studied BTS footage, who have studied the industry and how to make movies and the history of the industry. They know a bad movie from a mid-movie to a fucking shite movie. So when they were making franchises when I was growing up, the idea wasn't for a franchise. It just happened that they made a Rocky 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6, right? Because it was a popular character and Stallone had more to say about that character. So that's the difference, everyone. If you make something, if you genuinely try and make something, right, and continue a story, that genuinely, then you're going to get butts on seats and people are going to enjoy it. And if you give people emotion, but as I said on the top of the show, this is what culture and art and life lacks today. Heart, soul, meaning, and empathy. There's none of those things in any of our movies, any of our TV shows, any of our songs. Look at the songs we used to listen to growing up. Love, love and romance. It must have been love and it's over now. Oh my darling, I hunger for your touch. I get lost in your eyes. What do we get now? Lick it good, lick my back, blah, blah, blah. Sex sells, right? We went from Jodie fucking Foster to Sydney fucking Sweeney. How can I even compare the two? Jodie Foster, a child actress who grew up to win 2, I think, back-to-back Oscars. Her best performance out of those Oscars, as far as I'm concerned, is The Accused. As a young man, I learned a lot from seeing that film about that issue, because I'm not sure if I'm even allowed to say that word on YouTube. As a boy, it showed me what women go through. and how important it is to respect the woman's body, respect the woman's sexuality. Important movies, but they weren't going on about them, and they weren't gaslighting men over them. Go and watch it, go and learn. That's what they were telling us. It was different gravy. If you want to know one of the major reasons why Hollywood is on its knees, just look at the way they make franchise movies today.